Welcome back to the Happy Martian Dragon Hammer cast. Almost got it right that time. We're still following Alex, our special guest, Mr. X himself, on his fourth game. He's currently 3-0. So sitting here with Drake, see how this one goes.
Yep, and we should note before we hop into this one, you will see cards on the table. We have determined that this game is 2 turns removed from the start.
All right, here we go.
So we have Sean up on the top, we have Alex on the bottom.
And I'm assuming there was some sort of Lost in the Woods action going on here, since Sean was shuffling his deck.
hmm Yeah, it's very unfortunate we didn't get to see how that all played out. I'm assuming that Alex had nothing on the board. He played Lost in the Woods, which bounced the one creature or 2 creatures that Sean had back into his deck.
Umbra,
And we go with the Shadow's turn.
and upon sacrifice,
Let's see here. So we've got
3 to Murmook and 3 to Snufflegate.
all right, taking out the Umbra to get that Murmook off the board and severely cripple that Snufflegator,
4
leaving the Spy Master on the board.
And it looks like Alex has either found a starter set to borrow or purchase.
I do believe he purchased one. I remember correctly.
Excellent.
Let's see, got a Sunoco and Quixo.
Quixo, always fun to see. On the board and in real life.
Very true, very true. And it looks like,
I will call Shadows.
does he have, is it the Pit Lord in his hand or possibly a Dust Pixie?
I don't know. I was distracted by the Delpino Spy Master.
Snufflegator.
Yep, Spy Master is on the board.
I'm going to reap with Diagonal Spy Master.
Spy Master is always a fun card to see as long as it survives. That's the challenge there, is in getting it to survive. Simply because it has that really sweet Omni ability that lets it just be an ambassador for anything.
Yep, that is one card that I always forget about because I don't see it very often. We do have a second Umbra down on the board.
Oh, you forget about the Spy Master once until it's in one of your decks, and then you realize the shenanigans you can get up to.
Oh, looks like Alex made a mistake there with throwing the damage onto the Quixo. Quixo does have Skirmish.
So he should not have taken damage.
Correct. And we've got the Archaeologist that hit the board.
Very
See if
interesting choice to get rid of the Umbra, especially with the way Alex's deck functions. It does nothing but generate Ember.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and
Play Restraint.
he is fairly new, so he may not understand how much shenanigans the Spy Master can get up to.
Tentacus.
That is entirely possible.
Did you happen to hear what he called for Restrigets?
I will pass the turn.
I did not. I was looking at that Tentacus trying to remember if Alex had any
Use that creature this turn.
artifacts in his deck. I don't believe he does, but
Well, he does have a Pocket Universe. Hasn't made it to the board, but it's there.
Witch of the Eye, Alex just asking what Witch of the Eye did, if you heard that. And I think he's now realized that it needs to not be there.
And that was a Dust Pixie, not the Pit Lord.
I am going to call Shadows.
And Alex has definitely set himself up nicely for
I'm gonna
being
play
check.
Bruno to capture 3.
Unfortunately, old Bruno has other ideas.
I'm
Usually,
going
when your opponent has shadows, you
to
know if
use
you're at
Spy
6,
Master's ability
it's not going to
to
happen.
use Tentacus to kill Witch of the Eye.
Well, Shadows likes to look at your Ember more as a suggestion than anything.
And I will
That's probably the closest way I've ever heard that described,
drop 5 G.
or most accurate, I should say. I do believe that Sean started with.
I
What did
brought
he
logos
start
up
with?
first
Must
because
have been.
Logos is the restringed house,
There you go.
which would make
I say
perfect sense. You can't use that archaeologist to go after the spy master.
Throw down Big Twig. Smash Dust Pixie.
that's a good trade. Dust Pixie for Restringus.
And then I will heal 2 damage on this creature.
Making up for that missed play. Thankfully, he didn't go too far out.
I'm going to call Logos. Library of Babel.
Looks like Sean's got to figure out a way to protect that
Titan Mechanic.
spy master
Wild
before the
Wormhole.
way of the bear is able to come in and take care of it.
Oh, and then another Wild Wormhole.
He's riding the wormhole into another wormhole. Let's see where this one goes.
Well, that's interesting. So he must have 3 wormholes in this, because I believe there was one on the board when we first started.
I believe you are correct.
What, let's see here. Your Untamed, Logos, and Dees.
Sounds like Sean's trying to figure out what card to tuck away.
And
Never a question you want to have to answer.
with check +1.
It's almost as bad as. Can I see your discard real quick?
Absolutely. That's something I love to do, just to throw off my opponent, or to see if I can guess what house they're going to call next. Both of those Schulers doing some solid work for him, bringing him up to check. Got that Toxin coming down along with that Eater of the Dead. These are cards that we have seen him rely on very heavily throughout the tournament.
That was a misplay.
And I will rise the House Untamed.
Bringing back some untamed creatures.
Gets that Dust Pixie.
Oof. Dust Pixie, Snufflegator, Bramuk, and Witch of the Eye.
That is a lot of stuff I would not want to see coming back at me.
No, that's definitely good use of Arise there.
Absolutely. I don't think that witch is gonna survive. It might, but we'll see. Both players have yet to forge a key. You can hear Sam in the background laughing.
I was gonna say that laugh sounds awfully familiar back there.
Play
I think he's probably about 3 or 4 beers deep at this point, so the laugh gets a little louder each time.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a Guardian Demon.
Guardian Demon coming down.
let's fear the Norvu Archaeologist.
Very smart call. Fearing the Archaeologist to get rid of that Way of the Bear upgrade. Stealing one to get him off of his key.
Now, see, I don't think Sean moved any damage around.
I will
Could have moved 2 off of his Tenicus there.
Tenicus to
He absolutely could have.
actually.
That is a missed play by Sean.
Tenicus.
And you saw him
Spymaster's ability.
thinking about that quite a bit.
Fight, kill Eater of the Dead.
Using his Titan mechanic to clear out that Eater of the Dead. That's definitely a good play on his behalf. You don't want that Eater of the Dead starting to go off.
Pass the turn.
Yeah.
But you have to think, what's more deadly, or what's top priority? A Eater of the Dead or a Toxin?
Well, I guess I can use this ability. Heal up to 2 damage from a creature.
Well, it sounds like he's finding his missed trigger.
Let's do it Toxin.
Sam apparently going down a very similar thought process.
Yeah, I'm going to drop to 5 and move a chain.
Saying, you know what, I got to take care of that Eater of the Dead. I have a board that I can use to deal with Toxin if I have to. But definitely looking at that Eater, thinking to himself, you know what, I got to get rid of this now, or it's going to clear out my board. Archaeologist back out, burning 3 cards out of his hand. I wonder if he's fishing for something.
And with only 1 creature to attack this round, he's elusive. I'd say it's rough to figure out who to go for.
Yeah.
Because the 2 you want to kill have elusive. That's where I was going with that thought process.
Oh no, never mind. That's right, you play Mermaid.
Here we are, we're still sitting with no keys forged.
Alex declaring that he's back in check.
And unfortunately, with last turn him arising to Untamed and did not play Untamed, he's still got that chain sitting on him.
Call Shadows.
Let's see where Sean goes with this Shadows turn.
I'm gonna call Shadows.
Looks like he's got
Yeah, I'm gonna call Shadows.
Umbra or a Silvertooth in his hand along with a Shadow Self.
Shadow Self.
Oh, Moon Cursor with Shadow Self next to it is deadly.
That is a great combination.
I'm going to reap with this.
Puts him back to 6, I believe.
I'm going to use.
I think that puts him at 7.
Zombie ability to use Pity as action to steal 1.
That should put him at 8.
Yep. And this is where the Spy Master just becomes so goofy, because every single turn you get to do something out of whatever creature you want. So I think Alex at this point has just realized that unless he can do something, he's going to have to deal with that Pit Demon every single turn.
Well, and at this point, really since Pit Demon's great and all, but why not use Moon Cursor, who can also steal 1, but also kill your creature out, being the fact it's got poison.
Yep.
And pulls a Preston Bolt. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That would have been a great move for him to go 3-2-1 onto the Toxin, Ember Imp, Murmook.
Yeah. Yep, you could get rid of those 2 disc creatures that everybody loves dealing with. And then set yourself up to deal with the Murmook.
Oh, there you go.
Check +1.
Sean forging at 6 exactly. Murmook and Titan Mechanic canceling each other out.
And that was an unfortunate move by Alex, taking out that Guardian Demon.
Shadows.
But unfortunately, that Guardian Demon's got to go too. So it's, it's 6 one way, half a dozen another. At least he's not fortunate 5. I'm beginning to see why this deck has so many chains on it.
This is a very strong deck that's being piloted by a very competent player. I am absolutely not surprised to see this game going the way it's going. He can just use Moon Cursor to pick somebody off. Probably Big Twig. Or
Big Twig, Ember Imp, one of the Toxins. I mean, there's quite a bit of out there that you want to get rid of.
Yeah, and he can just reap with Titan Mechanic.
Fight and kill Murmook. Steal 1. I'm going to use Diagnose Spymaster's ability.
Bringing his keys and cost right back down.
And then I'm going to reap with Shadow Self.
Sean is setting himself up very nicely for another key.
I will pass the turn.
Sit himself at 5. Keeps taking Alex off that off his first key, just getting him down to 5 every time.
Yep.
And now with his very strong Shadows lineup, he's got to do something about that, because at this point he can lose or have 3 stolen from him every turn if he doesn't start doing something with those creatures that are there.
Absolutely. And especially with that Spymaster on the board, he was able to capitalize on that Titan Mechanic.
At the beginning of my turn.
Nadia's next to it, so if you're talking about this, it's not on flank.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, that's why I put Nadia there. It was a disincentive for you to kill Nadi, but since he killed it.
Looks like Alex just realized the small trap Sean set for him. Turning off that Titan Mechanic by placing the Nadi next to it. Continuing to keep Alex off of his key.
You can kill anything with keys.
But I can have him attack.
You can.
Interesting choices here. Can't get after that Moon Cursor because of the Shadow Self. Can't get after the Umbra for the same reason. You got Nadi, who's elusive. You got
Have him attack. I'll have Nuvo
old
attack.
Bruno, who's elusive. You got, and this Spymaster, who's elusive.
So you get to draw a card for that.
Yeah, just about the best thing he could do right now is to take everything he has and just run it into Shadow Self and then just start focusing things down.
That was a lucky draw. Drew into 2 help from future self. Off that Quickso attack.
Hiding at the bottom.
Huh?
Hiding at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. Maybe I'll go back to the bottom.
Hopefully he, no. This is, Alex needs answers, and I don't think I've seen a single one yet. I think he has a Save the Pack in this deck, but unless he can stick some damage on Moon Cursor or Umbra, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, at this point, it's like you have to focus down that Shadow Self.
Yeah, I find
The only other option you have is you can start using Big Twig to stun and exhaust creatures.
Absolutely.
Which might be one of his only options at this point. But at the same time, it's like you want to
Call shadows.
use your toxins to pull out cards from his hand. But you have to get rid of. You have to do something about this shadows lineup that's on the board.
I'm gonna have Moon Cursor kill Novu Archaeologist and steal one.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, the archaeologist should have had 2 damage on him from last time, from fighting, unless he did that first. But I thought it fought last to Naughty.
And at this point, I don't think Sean has to do a whole lot, but just continue to go shadows and utilize what he has on the field.
And that's where, if I was sitting in Sean's position, that's what I would see as well. You know, I attack with 2 creatures. I attack with my 2 that can steal and are also have skirmish on them. And then I just reap the other 3, and I get 5 a turn.
Fight Toxin. I steal one.
Yep. Very interesting choice to go after the undamaged Toxin.
But I'm going to Nerve Blast it now as well. Steal another one.
Well, there you go.
And
Sean has stolen 3 Ember this turn.
reap at these 3.
And then reaping with 3, that's another 6, or 6 total.
And I will pass the turn and check.
I'm not going to count Alex out. He's got pluck and spirit.
That's right. So he's sitting at check 11 right now. That's rough.
I'm a little less plucky about Alex's pluck.
Oh, there we go.
Oh! I have been proven wrong. I will never doubt Alex's pluck again.
That still leaves Sean at 6 though.
That leaves Sean. Oh, it does leave him at 6. So he was at
Yep.
check 6. Oof.
So he's at check 11. You lose half. So you would
Still
put round
leaves
up.
him on a key.
Yep.
From
At
Sean's
this-
point of view, that's got to be devastating. But at the same time, he has nothing to worry about.
Well, because he could still make at least, at least 5 a turn. So I mean, you got another 2 turns and you're on a key again.
Yep.
Just from what's sitting on the board, and that's not including if you have any other shenanigans or tricks in your hand.
I am going to.
Absolutely.
So now we're sitting here at 2 keys to Alex's none. How does it feel, Alex? You've done this to a couple people tonight.
Well, this game is definite. Well, I don't want to count anything out, but this game definitely will let you know sometimes you're the pigeon and sometimes you're the statue.
Play.
That's an interesting way of phrasing that.
Dr. Esoterra.
I've heard that statement a lot of ways, and I've never been a pigeon or a statue.
Tight Mechanic.
I usually try to be the pigeon.
I'm going to phase shift.
I don't want to spend that much money on
Toxin.
soap.
Now, see, if I was Sean there, I would almost left that Titan mechanic out hanging. Be like, I'm 2 keys up.
Moon Cursor to.
If you want to start forging at 5, go for it, but I'm going to do the same.
Yep.
Let's fight Schuler.
I like Sean's choice to, go logos this turn and continue to build out his board. Phase shifting into the Toxin, dropping the Titan mechanic, already turned off. using his Spy Master to work with his Moon Cursor to still whittle down his opponent. Sean is playing very conservatively right now, and I think this is a very smart play.
Yeah, save the pack. So your Shadow Self is for each damage creature.
Interesting choice.
Snuffle Gator, HDI, plus Pixie.
Alex going untamed, just looks like he's just trying to get as much stuff out on the table as possible, hopefully to try to stop some of Sean's momentum. I don't know if he's going to get there. Andy, you're Alex. What are you thinking right now?
I think I'm in mass amounts of trouble. I think he did the right thing by getting rid of Shadow Self, but maybe I would have done it a different way. But I don't know. It's like I'm sitting there scratching my head, trying to figure out if I've got answers for anything.
Yeah, his options definitely seem limited. If he can keep this Untamed lineup alive for a turn, I think he's probably got a chance. But I just don't think Sean is going to let those witches live.
Nope, in this game, what they say is burn the witch. So every witch out there is not good to be on the table.
I'm going to
Yeah.
recall Dees.
I always jokingly tell new players, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, and they always laugh at me. But as soon as witches start hitting the table, I go, okay, here's a witch. You want to kill it? No? Cool. Let me show
Fantastic.
you why. Let me show you why you should have.
Yeah.
Discard a card at random from him.
Oh, this is gonna be rough. So he's sitting on a chain. So he only has 5. Mind Barbs gets him down to 4. Toxin will get him down to 3. It's gonna be a rough next turn.
Oof.
Put Sphere Witch of the Eye to your hand.
Oh.
This is one way to get rid of the witch.
I'll play the Terror. I'll play Ember Imp.
Sean is just dominating this game. These are definitely the type of decks that you would expect to see at a Vault Tour.
For sure. And interesting to sacrifice your Toxin. Get rid of that witch.
Time Traveler and kill it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not 100% sure
And I'm going to pass turn.
what he was going for.
Big twig to fight. Does that kill Big Twig as well? Snuffle Gator to fight Umbra.
Big Twig. Oh, Big Twig. You got suckered into the moon.
Yeah, into the Moon Cursor. I would have used my Snufflegator to go after that Moon Cursor. Use the Big Twig into the Umbra.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very interesting that Sean has been playing as conservatively as he has been playing. If he wanted to, I definitely feel like he could have potentially ended this game a little bit early.
Well, and now he's playing with that Titan mechanic out in the open, which is, I think, something he could have done the first time it came out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 2 damage on 1.
Being the fact he was so far ahead, so much in control.
You're at 4.
I mean, like I said, I know I said it before, but I can see why this deck's done so well. It's just it got so many threats. Like all the cards you want to see in houses, he's got.
I'll use 2 Library of Babels. I should have done that before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And Sean has been consistently
Tight mechanics.
just ramping up the pressure over and over again throughout this game.
Spymaster's ability
Earlier in the
to,
game, we called it and said, you know what? If he wants to, he can just sit shadows and go shadows for the rest of the game.
Yep.
But he took the opportunity and the time to develop
And
his
I will
board
pass the turn
and
check +1.
take his
You
Yeah.
can only take away 1 hammer.
Oh.
his
There it is.
yeah, he took away control of the game from 75% to 0.
I did not play. Up to how I
And that was it. He could only take 1 at the end, and Sean took it down, put him at 6. So Alex ends up going 3-1 for the night.
Yeah, which is very respectable.
Especially he's a new player. I remember talking to him. Him and his buddies they're pretty fresh from Magic. And I think some of his Magic tendencies came out where he feels like he has to control the board.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a lot of Magic players feel like that's the way that this game's played. And in all actuality, it's a race for keys, and that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some times where you can leave a creature on the board, and there are other times where you have to, take a look at it and do some very serious threat evaluation.
Definitely. But like I said, that does it for this series, correct?
Yep, that was it.
So I appreciate everybody stopping by, and hope you come back again.